Hello all, welcome back to Learning Partner. If you are new, please do subscribe. This is another channel where you can directly connect with me. We have around 1,000 plus members already who are working. We take live coding sessions and everything. To just get notified about those sessions, please do join this group. So this is the part 2 of Angular performance optimization. So in the previous video, we have discussed some of the various ways. Now in the part 2, we are going to discuss this. Again, we will have a part 3 where we are going to see the remaining things. Fine. Now, first is like change detection strategy. So from Angular 17, once we got the standalone component, change detection strategy is very important. And from Angular 18, so zone.js, what Angular how works, like change detection and everything. It is all dependent on the zone.js. So zone.js is a library which makes Angular performance degrade little bit. So with Signal, they are trying to get rid of the zone.js, and without zone.js also we will be having the change detection. So this is the main important point. Then use of async buying, use of ngOnDestroy, use of loaders, and avoid duplicate call. This is these 2 points are related, and how to reduce the API call also. So all these 3 points are related. We will see it. Fine. Now the project I will be using is like this is the recent what do we say employee application. So this one I'm going to use. So first point what I'm going to discuss is like use of loaders. So see, we have this API call. We have this login. Okay, here we don't have API call. So because on the login, we just have a static login. So let me just log in. Now, if we go to the employee, so let me just make the network slow. Then I can explain the point very clearly. Or before first, let's go with the point. So first is change detection on push strategy. Now, so when we create the component, so let's talk about employee component. So this is our employee component. So by default, change detection strategy is by default. We have default and on push. So now let's try to change the change detection strategy. Change detection strategy dot on push. Fine. So by default, it is default. Now we are making it on push. So let's just save. Now, whatever the data we are getting, this is from Signal, where it is employee list. So the employee list variable we have binded over here in the table, right? Now, instead of this Signal, what I will do, I will just convert it to the normal variable. So employee list like this. I will just comment it for now. Consider we have a normal variable like this, and then let's comment this. And over here also, instead of method, it will be just a variable. Fine. Let's save. So let's reload one more time. Wait, what's happening? We have some error, no? This function, we are calling it over here. Let's add a debugger over here and over here also. So you can see in get employee count, we are getting the data. That data we are storing into the employee list. Continue. So in our array, we have the data, but as we have disabled the change detection strategy, so if we go with the normal variable like this, if we create a normal variable and hold the data into that, and if we change the change detection strategy to on push, UI won't show the latest data because change detection strategy we have disabled. So for this, what we can do instead of using this normal variable, try to make use now signal. So let me just disable this. Now I'm going to use the signal. And this also line we need to uncomment. So G, just the change C, instead of normal variable, I'm using signal now. Continue. continue. So once we get the data, continue. So now you can see UI is rendering the latest data. So from Angular 18, what the major are from Angular 17 also. So if we are using change detection strategy on push, and if we are using signal, so by default, change detection is not available in this component. But once signal value get changed, UI will automatically re-render the latest value. Means change detection, whatever we used to do with zone.js, now Angular is not using that zone.js. And by default, it is fetching the latest value because of the signal. So that is the first point. Always, if doesn't matter if it is your normal component or a reusable component, always try to use change detection strategy. Fine. Now this is with the signal, but let's say you have a normal variable. So and after your variable value get changed, you need to render your value. So in constructor, you can make use of the service. Means you need to trigger the change detection. Correct. So for that, you need to create an object of change detection ref. Change detection ref. Fine. Now, again, we will try to go with the normal variable. So how do we trigger the change detection? That I want to explain now. So again, we are going with the normal variable. And here also, let's comment this. So just be in a sync. In with normal variable, UI won't display the latest value. So that we are trying to do now. Let's just save. And let's see if we are able to see the latest data. See, data is not visible. But what happened? So once we get the data, we are trying to detect the change. Manually, we are triggering the change detection. So let's try that now. So once we get the data, after that we need to trigger the change detection. So this dot change detection dot detect changes. So this is the function which we need to trigger. It will automatically trigger the change detection. Fine. So let's save and check. So now you can see data is visible. If I comment this, again, data won't be visible because change detection is disabled by default, correct? So see, again, it is not disabled, but if we uncomment this, it will manually trigger the change detection. So there might be places where you cannot use the signal, but you have to go with the normal variable. And if that variable value get changed, you need to manually trigger the change detection. So this is how you do it. In constructor, you need to create an instance of change detection reference and then change detection reference dot detect changes. This is how you need to do it. Fine. So this is the first point. Then async pipe. Now, so we can see just the normal way is normally what we do everywhere we this is a like in case of subscribe whenever we are making an API call or we are subscribing any subject or behavior subject, what we do we normally subscribe like this. But this when we subscribe like this will keep memory locations open, memory leak, right? Whenever we prepare for the interview, we normally use the word memory leaks. So to avoid memory leak, what we need to do, all the subscription, whatever the subscription we are making, we need to unsubscribe that also. One way is that we will discuss that in the next point, ngOnDestroy. But before that, first we will discuss the use of async pipe. So what we did over here, or let's see, add new, here we have this drop down. Let me just check if I have already used that or not. Fine. So now here you can see I have the drop down, this parent drop down. This data is coming from API. Let me just showcase that also. If I'll refresh, so you can see get all parent department. So whatever the data we have, that is coming from over here, and that data is visible over here. So what we did, we created a signal. See, and we are making this API call, and this API call we are making on the page load, and we are storing the data over here. And this signal we are using it over here. This is normal, but what it does, it's going to do the memory leak. Okay, because we are subscribing, and this is not, we are not unsubscribing whatever the subscription we have done. So one way to do is this, by we can use the async pipe. So by means async pipe, Let's check the API response, or get all employee has that. Let's use project, and in project, yeah. So let's do that in this project. Now, new project I'm talking about. So if we click on the new project, we are going to we are navigating to the new project component. In new project component, we are showing over here employees. Whatever the employees we have created, that data we are showing it over here. Let me just close this project form. Now in this component, you can see this is a, oh, I have already used the sync pipe. Let's try another component, project employee. Let me just see if I have used a sync pipe already or not. Okay, here also I have used. Okay, let's use the employee only. Or dashboard also we can use. Yeah. So now in dashboard API, you can see we have this API. Now, whatever the data we get from the API, that data we are just simply displaying in the HTML. But this will be multiple. Let's go with employee only. So in employee, we have this department. Fine. Now we have created this signal. Now we have created this signal. Now instead of this signal, what we can do, we will create an observable. So let's create an observable. Let's say parent department dollar. Whenever we create an observable, we provide a dollar value colon observable. What type of we are going to get? Parent department array. So this data type we will go. We need to put it over here. New observable like this. Fine. So what we did, we have created an observable. Let me just comment this. First thing, whenever we are using the async pipe, first we need to create an observable. So that we have created. What type of data I was going to store, that also I have given it over here. Now in the constructor, what we will do, instead of normally making that subscribe and everything, what we will do, parent department dollar is equal to this dot master service dot get all department. That's it. Wait, what? Okay. So here, now this function is returning a data type of iResponse. So here we need to add a pipe. So dot pipe, what we need, we just need an array of data. So item colon I API response model. Sorry. After I pipe, we need map operator. We are just trying to filter the data. Data round bracket, again round bracket, data API response. Return what we need, just data dot data like this. Okay, because my API is returning data result and data, and we just need a data. So this is how we have created an observable, and in observable we are directly assigning the data. If your API call, if your API is returning directly arena, so you won't need this piece of code. Okay, because in data dot data I have the response, that's why I have done this. But if your API call is returning directly array, you just need this piece of code. That's it. Okay, fine. Now, so we have created observable. In that observable, we have assigned the value also. Now, this observable we can directly use in the HTML instead of over here. But now this has an observable data. So if to receive that, we need to make use of the async pipe. From Angular 17, if we are using pipe, we need to import that. So in the import section, async pipe we need to add. Then we can use an async pipe. Right, like this. So now if we save, okay, somewhere it's breaking because we removed that. Now we don't need this function because we have created a sync pipe. So see, this piece of code also we got removed. Let's save all and let's check one more time. Fine. Let's go back to the employee. So now on the page load, you can see we only have one API call, that is get all employee, because the other UI dropdown is not rendered it. Now if I go to add new, now you can see API call is there because UI got rendered. Got it? So now this is the benefit of making async API call. By using the async pipe, whenever data is required, you will get that. Right? Again, whatever we did, we didn't subscribe that. So there won't be a chance of memory locations. To avoid the memory location, first thing, we can make use of the async pipe. So this is how we do that. We create an observable, we assign the function, whatever API call we are going to get the data, and then in the HTML directly we will use the async pipe like this. Fine. So this is how we use the async pipe. And now where we can use the async pipe. Let's say you are going to get the data from any API, and that data you are going to use only in the HTML. You are not going to use that data in the .ts to do any manipulation or anything. So always go for the signal. So always go for the async API, async pipe. But let's say in the HTML also you are going to use that data, and in the .ts also you are going to filter it out something. Then you can go with the normal way. That is fine. But if you are just going to use the data in the HTML, always go for the async pipe. Fine. So we are done with the 2 point. Then ngOnDestroy. So one way to avoid the memory leak is either use the async pipe or ngOnDestroy. Now we are going to make use of the ngOnDestroy. So see, on the page load, we are making this API call, but we are subscribing to this. But once this component is destroyed, we are not unsubscribing. So memory leak will be there. So for handling the memory leak, what we need to do, let me just get rid of this. We need to create an array of subscription. Fine. Now let's create an array of subscription. List colon subscription array like this. So what we did, we have created an array of subscription. Now in this subscription, whatever the day, wherever we subscribe, what we need to do, this dot subscription dot push this whole code, whatever the subscription object code is there, now we need to push it over here. Either you can do like this, or one more way is you can create a normal variable. What is it? Child department is equal to this whole subscription thing. You can put it into this variable, and then this dot subscription dot push, you can push it this variable over here. See, I have explained two ways. Either you can write like this, or you can store whatever the subscription into a variable, and then that local variable you can push it. Okay. First thing, you need to create a subscription object, subscription array like this. Then wherever you are subscribing, that subscribe object you need to push to the subscription list. Then you need to implement ng on destroy. On destroy, you need to implement. ng on destroy should be at the end of the page. So on ngOnDestroy. Now this dot subscription dot for each subscription. What we need to do, we need to unsubscribe. So subscription dot unsubscribe like this. So now this will not do the memory leak, because wherever we are subscribing, we are unsubscribing that. Here also you need to do, wherever you are going, wherever you are doing the subscribe thing, you need to add that like this. Either you can do like this, or you can do like this. So this is how, or as an interview question, this is very important. ngOnDestroy. What is the purpose of this? So basically, we use ngOnDestroy to unsubscribe everything. So first, create an array of this subscription array, then push like this or this, and then you can do this. At the end, you need to unsubscribe it like this. Fine. So we are done with the three important points. Now, all these 3 points are, what do we say, limited. So first is like loader. So let's save it. So now over here, you can see on the page load, we are going to get the data. Now let's just slow down the speed. Slow 4G. Now if I navigate, and if I come back over here, just say it properly. Once I'll navigate to the employee. So for the time you can see page is empty. Okay. If I make it 3G, let's try it again. So now you can see for sufficient time, we don't see anything, but this doesn't look good. Whenever API call is in progress, we need to show loader so that user will know, yeah, something is process is going on. So because not every time you are going to get the data within some particular second, there will be a delay in API call, right? So to handle that, we need to show the loader over here. So let's use the bootstrap loader for now. Either you can use image or anything, but I'm just going to use the bootstrap loader. So over here, spinner, let's use this. So these are the various div. So what I will do, I have this table. So inside this table, what I will do, I will create ng container. So ng container is like whenever we need imaginary div, we don't need the extra div, but we need to write something. First, I will create a variable, or we will go with the signal now, is loader signal. Sorry. What type of data I'm going to store? So Boolean. By default, it will have a true value. Fine. So what I have done, I have created a signal. Signal name is loader. So if this loader has the value true, so star ng if, sorry, at the rate if we need to use is loader and it's a signal. So we have to use method. So if this signal has a value true, then we will render this, or we won't use this, and at the rate else. So if this signal has a true value, then we need to showcase the loader. So we will create tr over here, then td. How many td we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So call span we need 7. And inside this call span, we will need this loader. I will put it over here. And I will add just a span class to make it center. And at the rate else. Fine. Let's just see now. So by default, you can see signal value we have initialized to true. And once we get the data, we just need to make it false. So this is how where we get the data. So after that, this dot signal dot set, we need to make it false value. Let's just save and let's check it. So now if we navigate to the employee, sorry. Now just pay attention to the network tab. Once we navigate to the employee, but oh, we need to change the speed. So now if I click on the employee, so see, loader is there. Once we get the API response, then data is visible. So this is how we need to showcase the loader. On the table we have done. Fine. So wherever you are, let's say on click of add, here also on click of save also, you need to show the loader. I will explain live. Now the first point, loader everywhere possible is done. Avoid duplicate API call. So duplicate API call as in, so just pay attention to the network tab. If I click on save employee, API call is there. It is in pending. API is there, that is different thing. Let's say if I click 2 times, see, unlimited API call is there, right? This should not happen, na? If, just pay attention again, if I click on save employee and if current API call is already in progress, and if I click on again, it should not trigger one more API call because one API call is already in progress. So this is how duplicate API call is there. So this is the this is the duplicate API call. So how do we reduce that? Again, by creating a one more variable. So what we can do, I will just create one more signal. The name I will give it is like is API call in progress. Fine. So by default, I will make it with false. Now this signal will have the value true once we click on save. So over here, this dot signal dot set true. Fine. But before that, first we need to check if this signal has the value false. So if this dot is API call in progress as false, let's make it normal code false. So if this signal has a value false value, then only we need to make this API call. Inside that, we will make it true. So if this signal is true, and once we get the API call response, then we will make it false over here also, and in error block also. Means once we get the success or error, we will make this variable value false. So by default, if the signal value is false, then only it will go inside. Let's say user again clicked on it, but we didn't change the value to true, false. So it won't make API call. So let's just save and check. Let's make it fast. 3G. Fine. If I click on add new, now just pay attention. Previously, how much time, whatever the time I was clicking on the same employee, that much API call was there. Now, if you say clicked, let me just remove the debugger. See, again, I'm clicking, but it didn't trigger the API call. Let me try again. See, many times I'm clicking, but only one API call is there because once we get the API call success or error, then only we are allowing to happen one more API call. Got it? Now, same thing as we discussed in the first time loader, right? So if I click, user is not going to open the console panel and see na API call is there or not. So we need to show loader over here also. Now, how do we know like API call is in progress or not? Because of this state. So we can use this to showcase the loader. So where is it? So this is our form. Inside form, we have this save button. Now in save button, we can show the loader. Small loader will be there like this. So let's use the last one. So this span we need to showcase on that button. So over here at the if again. So we need to showcase this loader if we have this variable as true. So just see now what happens. So just pay attention. If I click on save new, loader is there. Once API call is success or error, then loader will hide. So now user will know, yeah, something is going on. So he won't obviously click on 2 times, but obviously we have handled that also. Got it? So this is how we, because of using loader, we avoid the duplicate API call also. Because we don't need to keep the server busy with unnecessary API call. Fine. Now, the last point is reduce API call. Now, how do we reduce the API call? So just for example, see, now, once I delete this employee, on click of delete, we are trying to delete this. Let's try to delete the first record. If I click on delete, and if we click on OK, employee deleted. And after that, we are making one more API call so that that record will get removed. But in delete API, we get to know like this was a success. So we know that employee got deleted. We have the array already over here. So instead of making this one more API call, we can just remove the particular element from the array. Why to again make an API call? Na? Because delete API call was success. We know that record got deleted. We have the array over here. So from that array only we can remove the element. So we will reduce this API call. Same like in case of add, delete, you can do the same thing. Fine. So let's just quickly do that. So this is our delete API call. We know the ID over here. And where we have the array. So in employee list, we have the array. So over here, this dot m, first we need to get the index of that. So constant index is equal to this. So we are trying to remove the particular element from our array. Find index with what we will find. Employee object with what we need to compare m dot employee ID is equal to ID. So we will get the index of this particular employee ID, whatever the employee record we are trying to delete, we will get the index of that. Then we need to use the splice. So this dot splice index we need to pass. So this index we will pass it over here. And how many record we need to remove? Just one. So just see now. And after that, we won't need this API call. So I'm just removing this. Let's save. So currently we have 5 records. Fine. Let's try to delete the last record. Now just pay attention on the network tab also. So we are just going to make the delete API call for 5th record, which is having this number. Okay. Continue. Wait, something is wrong. We didn't get the index properly or what? Employee component. Let's try to debug. Record got deleted. Let's check what went wrong. Let's try to delete the last record. On click of delete. Okay. So ID is 219. We got the index 3, right? Last record. Splice index and 1. Okay, sorry. We had that change detection reference now. So once the change detection reference also, we need to trigger this. Because change detection we have disabled. So again, we need to trigger the change. Let's try last time. So now if I click on delete, if I click on OK, so now you can see delete call is success and record got also removed. So you reduce that one more get API call in case of add and delete. If you have a single page now, instead of again making the get API call, you can do that based on the API response. If it is success, why to again make the get API call? You have that data already over here. So you can do the manipulation in the object. Fine. So these are the all points we have discussed. Again, we will have one more part 3. All the advanced thing I have kept it at the end because it is going to need time. We need proper scenarios to check that again performance optimization techniques. Fine. So that's it. Again, if you are new, please do like and subscribe.